So hey everybody, I have a little addendum to the random scattering of trees tutorial I did last time. Um, I'm here in my Thailand remake track from 4x4 Evo 2, and I've already scattered some trees around. I have another one here that I want to scatter. One's like a 115 footer, another one's a 80 footer, however they do these things. I showed you how to scatter your objects last time, but the way that I turn them into things that Wreckfest would understand was not the best way, and it's super resource hungry. And I have a new way that Maisie shared with me where you can see all your trees on your track and doesn't take up much resources. You know, I can still fly all around with all these trees in here. It's not lagging and stuff like the other method does, even though you can't see anything but a bunch of dots. So let me share how this works, and it should be quick. After that, I'll just talk quickly about how to make your own custom water, and yeah, that'll be it for the day. So again, if you want to spread your trees around, I like to look at the top view. I grab the tree that I want to spread around, this 80 footer. I want to spread it on my mesh here. So that should be the one that's in bright yellow. I'm going to use the scatter objects tool again. So you go object, scatter objects, and I'm going to go to the tool properties, which is right here in this little bar. We'll adjust the radius and things. It looks like I already have it set like I like. Density 0.1. You'll get a lot of scatter still. My radius is huge, 500 meters. Scale, I want my objects full scale. This adjusts the range of sizes. I'm not sure if these two have to go together in unison. I would like them all to be 100% size, but if I get a little randomness, it's fine. You don't want rotation. Put that to 0 degrees, and then you're going from there. So we're scattering our trees on here. You just color where you want them, and they appear in the dots there. I want some over here. I want some over there. You know, I'm just putting them in here and there. I don't want too many on the track, so I'm trying to avoid that a bit. It looks like I'm getting quite a bit of scatter. So might have to move some. The nice thing about being able to see the trees after you're done with this is then you can move them. You fly around your track and just move the actual tree that's there rather than hunting for dots, which is quite messy and a pain. I still need some more here. Yeah, that seems good. All right, so this is fine for the example. 562 trees got scattered. My head is down here on the left, but you can see how many trees scatter there, and I'm going to hit enter. Boom. That creates my scatter stuff, so we zoom in a bit. All right, so here's all my scattered trees. They're the green ones. And the difference in today's tutorial is that I want to take these guys and make them real in another way. So I have my jungle lady scene. I am going to erase duplicator. I don't want that to appear. Same as last time. That's all of these guys here. I am going to, let me see if this is it. Apply, I want to make all the instances real. So just from here, I have that duplicator. I changed its name. Erase the duplicator, so now it's a copy of that xref object like I explained last time. I'm going to go object, apply, make instances real. So all those guys that showed up here are going to become their own object. You see over here, now we have 10 million copies of these guys. We have the original, and then we have all the other guys. And you want to make sure those all stay selected. So I should go like that. Let's see if that's right. Yeah, so all those guys are selected. And then I want to rename all these guys and get rid of copy. So they're called copy and their number. So you go edit, and you do a batch rename. And then I'm going to find space dash space copy. That's what you see in the name. And then it has the star with a number here. So whatever comes after the period, this is including. It'll find all of those. I'm going to replace it with nothing. I'm going to click OK. All their names change to copies of that XREF scene now. And when Wreckfest goes to load these trees up, it's just going to pull in that tree from that external scene that you've already saved. All right, so that's very easy, like one-step process almost. From your duplicator, you make instances real, and then you do a little batch rename and make sure everything shows up as copies of that XREF scene. And you're done. Let's see, flying around. It is super smooth, just as good as if these trees weren't here at all. So I think that's something that Misc's implemented into the toolbox. You know, when you bring subscenes in this way, it uses very little resources to have them show up in here. So that's what you want to do if you have a lot of the same object all over the place. Import them as a subscene and place them around like that, as long as you can tell which way they're facing and stuff. All right, so that's that. What about water? Where do I have my water? Let's see. So I have a little river going here. You can't tell what it looks like at the moment. It looks a little shiny. But to make my water scene, I have 2,000 by 2,000 meter square terrain here, and I just make a 2,000 by 2,000 solid plane. So my 2,000 by 2,000 solid plane is here. It lines up exactly with my terrain, and I just bring it up to whatever height I want my water to be. And then I have to texture it and get it going in the right way. I got it saved in my stuff here. I'm calling it river. I did it like this for my beach track. I've done it like this for every track I've done so far. And let's see what you have to do to set it up. So the way that I like to do it is I have my top river. So that's the surface of the water that you see from above. I have the surface of the water that you see from below. My river is at 0.9 meters. The one from below seems to be at 0.9 meters too. It can be a little lower if you wanted to. And then I have a shadow, which is a bit lower. So it looks like the shadow is getting cast below. From the top water to the bottom water, the only difference, they're exactly the same setup. So I'll explain the top. The bottom one, you just flip the normal, so that instead of your plane having its normal pointing up and you're seeing it from the top, you want the normal pointing down so you see it from below. So the setup is exactly the same. You just have to remember to flip your normal, or you could rotate your plane over 180 degrees, you know, in the, I guess in the Z direction. I don't know, you're flipping it over so you see it from below. So how do you set up the river? This has to do with how you name your material. I've called my material river. You throw the hashtag or the tag water sub moving on it. That lets it know that it's a water texture, and it should be having some animation. And then along with that, in order to make it work, you need the tag WP with some numbers following it. 02, 03, 100. That's a good place to start. And you can adjust these 01, 01, 200, you know, whatever. You can go look on the wiki and see if there's an explanation for this. I haven't messed with this too much. I'm not sure how much effect it has. What I've found to have more effect is the size of the texture and remembering to make sure you have 2 UV layers going on. So, on your water plane, your river, you need to have 2 UV maps. UV map 1, UV map 2, and attached with each of those maps are your normals. So on UV map 1, you'll have one set of normals. On UV map 2, you'll have another set of normals, and then I believe it uses that to make it look like it's flowing the water is moving in different directions. So going to your shading and setting up your water, you are going to want to go to your bug menu, change shader. You're going to want water moving. If it doesn't show up, you got to load your node group shaders. Boom. Change shader, you look for your water moving, select that. This is what you do. I've created my own water texture here. It should be a bit transparent. It should look however you want it to. I made mine really mellow. It almost looks like the texture of a wavy bubble or something. You know, it's super, super light water. The normals give it a lot more texture depending on how you scale them. So, boom, I've got my water here. Water texture, it should have a sub C5 after its name. And you are connecting that to the color and the transparency enable. And then you're going to have your two normal maps. One of them connects to normal 1 and the other one is controlled by UV2. There's nothing you have to do in this setup area to do that. The game will do it automatically. The normals that I am using are not my own custom normals. They're just the ones that come from the game. You can find those in your Wreckfest folder. Under Data, Art, Textures, look for Water Normal 1 and Water Normal 2. Copy those into wherever you're keeping your texture files. And all I've done is made a couple placeholder PNGs here. All you have to do is, you can grab this node. So that's disconnected. You can grab this node here, boom, put an image texture, bam, make a new texture, like whatever power of 2 dimensions you want, and call it water normal 1 subin.ping. So you want the name to match these guys here. So once you put your two little placeholder things in, they don't have to have anything in them. Mine are just like transparent nothing. Just make sure their names match those normals that come from the game. You generate your map, it'll make some B maps, and then you copy these in instead. So in place of the B maps that got made, copy these in, and then you've got the normals from the game ready to go. Again, very important, you need both UV maps here attached to your water plane, whatever it happens to be. All right, so the final thing to notice is going over to UV editing here. Here's my river water. It's all selected. Here I am in the UV editor. Can I see what size my texture is here? I don't know what this is. It's probably 256 by 256. My plane is 2000 by 2000. So coming over to the UV editor here, I got this little 256 by 256 texture, and I've hugely scaled my plane away. So like when you're first setting all this stuff up, that the size of your plane is going to be matched up to the size of your texture. So everything is like scaled super weird. It'll look like the water's moving all fast. You want to scale this to the size so that when you go into the game, your water looks like it's flowing the way you expect it to. So changing the size of the texture mapping has a big effect on what it looks like in the game. So be careful that you mess with this in the UV editing tab. That's what UV1 looks like. I think UV2 is just a copy. You can have them be different sizes, and that'll affect the way that the water flows and things like that. When I set this one up initially, the water was flowing like this way, so this way, but it should be flowing downriver. So I rotated my UV maps and got it going so that the water looks like it's flowing down the river. Simple stuff. So those are the initial steps of the water setup. With all that stuff going, we can jump in the game and see what the water looks like above and below and what you're after. We're in here. Let's see if all this stuff is running and working properly as we are hoping. Let's go, I don't know, hazy morning. we're in. See the water flowing. It has a beautiful texture to it. That flow and the texture and the normal and everything is controlled by. Looks like I might not have exported my scene. It looks like that is controlled by, or that is controlled by the normals from the game. The size of the waves and everything that you see depend on how you map your texture to that plane. So I have it so it looks like smoother, softer water. If I stretched it out more or less, it could look like rougher water. Looks good from up top. That's just what the game does. Awesome. It's got some shadow under there too. If you drive into the water by accident, you can see there's a shadow cast underneath, which is what we want. And then you can see as well that the water looks like it's flowing when you're underneath it. My car doesn't have any shadow cast on it. But, you know, I guess that's okay. Maybe this is about as good as you can get. Another thing that I want to try and do eventually is to have like a water effect, water pattern on the bottom. If you've played Fortnite, there's the nice reflections happening down on the floor terrain. One day we'll try that out. So yeah, that's a simple water setup. I hope it helps you. I don't see my new trees here because I think I forgot to export the scene. But yeah, let's see. We'll know if we drive through this and it doesn't crash. I don't know. So again, I hope that's helpful. Thanks for watching, and we will check you on the next one.